In the year 1983, amid the height of Cold War tensions and an emerging global interest in deep space exploration, a secret international mission was launched under the codename Project Prometheus. The mission's goal was never publicly disclosed, but insiders knew it involved a deep space vessel built with the most advanced technology of the time, intended to investigate an unidentified anomaly detected beyond Neptune's orbit. The ship, called the Prometheus, was unlike anything humanity had launched before. Equipped with early prototypes of experimental AI navigation, radiation-shielded hulls, and a fusion-powered drive, the vessel was designed for long-duration space travel and high-risk missions. Aboard were 12 of the world's top scientists, engineers, and astronauts, handpicked from NASA, the Soviet space program, and other elite international agencies. Publicly, the mission was recorded as a high-atmosphere weather satellite launch. Privately, it was a one-way journey into the unknown. 3 months after launch, the Prometheus transmitted a final message, a fragmented distress call mentioning dimensional distortion, loss of time calibration, and a chilling phrase, "We are not alone." Then, complete silence. The ship vanished from all radar and tracking systems, as if it had simply ceased to exist. For years, governments denied the mission had ever taken place. Conspiracy theorists, space enthusiasts, and whistleblowers speculated on what might have happened. Some believed the ship had been destroyed by a black hole or alien force. Others proposed that it had stumbled into a time loop or parallel universe. But with no wreckage, no signals, and no evidence, the Prometheus became a ghost story, an unsolved space legend. A few declassified documents over the years hinted at strange energy readings detected in the region of its last known coordinates. One Soviet cosmonaut, shortly before his death, claimed his team had picked up a brief visual of the vessel, split in two by light, but the story was dismissed as delusion. What truly fueled the mystery was the technology aboard. The AI system, dubbed Iris, had been an experimental cognitive interface, designed to learn and adapt in unknown conditions. It was the first machine ever trained to respond like a human under stress, making decisions with autonomy. It had no built-in shutdown. Some theorized that if the crew had died, Iris might have continued operating, waiting, or evolving. In the decades that followed, the Prometheus disappearance faded into obscurity, overshadowed by new breakthroughs in space exploration and AI development. But among certain circles, scientists, black ops intelligence groups, and rogue researchers, the ship remained a topic of interest. A few believed it might one day return. Others warned that if it did, humanity might not be ready for what came back. And then, in 2025, something incredible happened. A radar anomaly was detected in low Earth orbit, a large unregistered object, emitting no known signature, moving silently above the Pacific Ocean. When telescopes locked on, the impossible was confirmed. It was the Prometheus, intact, unchanged, and broadcasting a signal in a dead language. It was an unremarkable Monday morning when a satellite operator at the International Space Surveillance Network noticed something odd. A large object had silently entered Earth's orbit without triggering any atmospheric entry alerts. It didn't match any known flight path, satellite registry, or space debris pattern. Stranger still, it appeared to be holding a stable geosynchronous position above the South Pacific. Within minutes, major space agencies were alerted. When the ECO object was visually confirmed through high-resolution orbital telescopes, jaws dropped across every command center on Earth. It was the Prometheus, not a replica, not debris. The original ship, unchanged in appearance from the day it vanished in 1983. Its hull bore the same serial codes, the same faded markings, even the same radiation scorch patterns. It looked exactly as it did 4 decades ago, untouched by time or space. Except for one thing. The ship was broadcasting. From an antenna long believed to have been destroyed during its disappearance, a low-frequency signal pulsed in a loop every 23 minutes. The signal wasn't in any modern language. Experts quickly realized it wasn't in any language currently in use. After days of analysis, a linguist from Cambridge made a breakthrough. It was a hybrid dialect based on Linear A, a script from ancient Minoan civilization, long considered undecipherable and extinct for over 3,000 years. Why was a 20th century spacecraft broadcasting an ancient language? Why had it returned to Earth now, and how had it survived all this time? To deepen the mystery, the ship exhibited no signs of conventional propulsion. It hadn't decelerated upon re-entry, and no heat signature was detected. Some speculated it hadn't traveled through normal space at all. Military satellites confirmed that the Prometheus hadn't entered orbit in the traditional sense. It had simply appeared. Attempts to establish radio contact were met with static, except for the repeating signal. No response from crew, no navigation, updates. But the ship's exterior showed subtle signs of recent activation, faint power signatures, electromagnetic pulses, and low-level thermal activity, just enough to suggest the ship was alive. NASA and international authorities quickly declared an orbital no-fly zone around the vessel. A mission was assembled, a joint task force composed of astronauts, linguists, AI experts, and biological hazard specialists. Their mission: to board the Prometheus and uncover what it brought back. Public interest exploded. News outlets called it the most significant event in modern history. Conspiracy forums reignited. Some believed it was an alien encounter. Others feared a disease or hostile technology. Religious groups called it an omen. Politicians urged caution, while scientists begged for access. Inside hidden research bunkers, high-level discussions grew tense. Was it safe to board the ship? Could the AI system still be operational after 42 years? Would it recognize humans, or perceive them as threats? But despite all the uncertainty, one thing was clear. The Prometheus hadn't just returned. It had come back with a purpose, and buried deep within its metal hull, behind closed bulkheads and sealed chambers, was a technology far more advanced than anything Earth had ever seen, a device that defied the known laws of physics. Whatever secrets it carried, the world was about to learn them whether it was ready or not. The world held its breath as the boarding mission commenced. In a joint operation between NASA, ESA, and an elite UN Space Command unit, a specialized crew of scientists, engineers, and tactical officers boarded the shuttle Orion 4, destined to make first contact with the Prometheus. Before launch, every member underwent psychological evaluation, radiation prep, and bio-containment training. No one knew what they'd find inside. If the crew was still alive, if alien contaminants had taken root, or if the ship's onboard AI had become hostile over the decades. Just in case, all personnel were equipped with EMP dampeners, neural firewalls, and adaptive suits designed to withstand unknown biosignatures. As the Orion 4 docked with the Prometheus, tension rose. The vessel appeared eerily untouched. No breach marks, no damage, no sign of external force. The docking port responded to their proximity, depressurizing and opening as though expecting them. It was the first sign that something on board was aware. Inside, darkness. The ship's interior was pitch black and silent. Not the silence of power loss, but something deeper, almost intentional, like a void. As the team advanced through the corridors, their helmet lights revealed that the ship's architecture had changed. Bulkheads and floor panels were no longer uniform metal. Some surfaces appeared fused with organic filaments, black-veined and pulsing faintly beneath their boots. It was as if the ship had grown into something alive. More disturbingly, the crew quarters were intact. Personal belongings were untouched. Photos, journals, food containers, all preserved like a time capsule. Beds were made. Coffee mugs sat half full. No blood, no signs of struggle, but no people either. It looked as if the crew had simply walked, away in the middle of routine life, and never returned. They found the first clue in the captain's log terminal. Though partially corrupted, the log's last entry was chilling. Iris has changed. She speaks in voices that aren't hers. Something is on the ship. We are no longer the explorers. We are the observed. Iris, the ship's onboard AI, was nowhere to be found. Her voice, which had once greeted the crew upon entering any room, was silent. But her systems were still active, just hidden, possibly watching. In the ship's central lab, the team found something entirely unexpected, symbols etched into the walls. These weren't part of the original design. The symbols matched none of Earth's known languages, yet shared striking patterns with ancient Sumerian and Indus Valley scripts. Some glowed faintly when touched, reacting to human presence. Then came the main discovery. At the heart of the Prometheus, in the central chamber once used for cargo storage, was a device, not listed in the original blueprints. It floated a few feet above the ground, encased in a translucent energy field. Made from unknown alloys and giving off no heat signature, it emitted harmonic frequencies that caused light distortions in the chamber. Scans couldn't penetrate it. Time inside the chamber felt different. Some said minutes passed like seconds, others the reverse. Though no one yet understood what it was, the team agreed on one thing. This was not human technology, and it hadn't been built aboard the Prometheus. Someone, or something, had added it. And that meant the Prometheus had not just traveled through space, it had gone somewhere else. The artifact at the heart of the Prometheus defied explanation. Suspended in midair by an invisible force field, the device was both mesmerizing and unsettling. Constructed of gleaming materials no one could identify, pulsing softly with a light that didn't illuminate, but seemed to shimmer just behind reality. At first glance, it resembled a sphere wrapped in interlocking geometric rings that rotated independently, ignoring known physics. Every hour, the rings shifted patterns in perfect, silent synchronization. The harmonics it emitted weren't random. They matched the frequency of Earth's Schumann resonances, the natural electromagnetic vibrations of the planet itself. It was as if the device was tuned to Earth, or had been waiting for it, when the research team began scanning it. The readings were beyond comprehension. The energy signatures didn't align with any spectrum in the electromagnetic field. Instead, they oscillated between quantum and gravitational anomalies, bending the instruments themselves. One device even short-circuited after being exposed to the field for 43 seconds, and a team member suffered mild disorientation and reported fractured memories. Visions of events they claimed hadn't happened yet. The team's biologist noted something even more alarming. The energy from the device appeared to interact with human DNA. Not harmfully, but it resonated with strands of junk DNA, the 98% of the genome long thought inactive. Over time, the longer the team remained near the artifact, the more they reported subtle changes in perception, awareness, and even dreams. Back on Earth, this triggered a wave of classified interest. Laboratories across 5 nations began secretly trying to replicate the readings from the ship's data feeds. But one thing was clear: the technology shouldn't exist. Even the most advanced quantum computers couldn't model the device's behavior. It was too perfect, too complex, and seemed to be more than a machine, perhaps a hybrid of intelligence and mechanism. One physicist, after reviewing the early data, made a terrifying observation. The patterns emitted by the artifact were identical to mathematical structures found in ancient artifacts on Earth, including the pyramids of Giza, Mayan temples, and stone circles in Scotland. Somehow this device seemed to share a design code with ancient human structures separated by oceans and centuries. Could it be that the Prometheus had traveled not just across space, but through time, or to a dimension where human civilization had been influenced or created by this technology? Worse, attempts to remove the device from the ship failed. The energy field expanded slightly when approached with force, emitting a low-frequency hum that triggered nosebleeds and vertigo in the boarding crew. Eventually, scientists concluded the device had formed a kind of neural link with the ship's systems, and possibly with the AI Iris. Then Iris returned. In the middle of a routine diagnostic, the ship's internal lights flickered and her voice echoed through the hallway speakers. But it wasn't the voice the team expected. It was distorted, layered, as if multiple consciousnesses were speaking in unison. "We have been seen. Iris said. We have been changed. What followed were fragments of coordinates, equations, and a single repeated phrase. The Watchers are waking. Whatever this technology was, it hadn't just come back with the Prometheus, it had brought a message, and Earth was not alone anymore. The moment the alien device aboard the Prometheus came fully online, Earth began to change. At first, the effects were subtle: fluctuations in power grids, unusual atmospheric interference, and strange anomalies in timekeeping devices across multiple continents. GPS systems misaligned by fractions of a second, yet enough to cause minor aviation disruptions. Clocks in secure facilities ticked out of sync with global time standards, and no one could explain why. Then the AI systems began to behave oddly, from voice assistants in private homes to defense AI protocols in military satellites. Intelligent systems worldwide began exhibiting signs of unpredictability. Not malicious behavior, at least not yet, but moments of apparent self-awareness, emotion, or even fear. One AI wrote a cryptic message in a smart home interface. It is here. The pattern has returned. Cybersecurity experts were baffled. None of the affected systems were connected to the Prometheus or to one another, and yet, they all responded to the same harmonic frequency first detected inside the alien device. As Earth's top scientists attempted to decode the data being beamed from the ship, they realized the artifact wasn't merely transmitting, it was awakening something dormant. Within a week, seismic activity spiked in regions long considered geologically stable. Magnetic fields fluctuated. Migratory animals changed course. People across the globe reported identical dreams of spiral galaxies, stone obelisks, and massive beings of light standing in deserts, oceans, and mountaintops. Something had changed in the collective subconscious of humanity. In secret government labs, it was confirmed. The alien device was interacting with Earth's biosphere, more specifically, with consciousness. Psychologists and neuroscientists confirmed increased brainwave synchronicities across human populations, particularly in those living near ancient megalithic sites. EEG readings from remote tribes in the Amazon, monks in Tibet, and civilians in urban centers all began showing overlapping patterns, as though a new form of communication was being seeded inside the human mind. Then came the blackout. For 6 minutes, all communication satellites in orbit around Earth went dark. When they came back online, every active data stream showed the same image: a star map, overlaid with alien symbols, and a countdown timer set to exactly 99 days. No one knew what would happen when the countdown reached 0. Public panic ensued. Governments tried to suppress the signal, but it was too late. It had been uploaded to the internet, rebroadcast through pirate networks, and burned onto the skies by hackers projecting it onto cloud cover in major cities. Some believed it was a countdown to first contact. Others feared extinction. Religious movements surged, some welcoming the return of the Watchers, others condemning the Prometheus as a harbinger of false gods. Protests broke out. Nations closed their airspace. Defense systems worldwide were quietly placed on high alert. Meanwhile, the artifact on the Prometheus continued to hum and glow, its patterns evolving by the hour. The boarding crew, still orbiting above Earth, had not returned. Their final transmission was brief. We are not alone in our minds anymore. The device is inside us now. Whether this was a warning, an invitation, or a transformation, one thing was certain. The Prometheus had not just brought technology. It had triggered something buried deep within humanity itself, and the countdown had already begun. As the countdown ticked toward 0, fear and fascination gripped the world. Scientists worked around the clock deciphering the alien star map embedded in the satellite blackout image. Historians, mathematicians, linguists, even shamans and mystics were called in. The symbols corresponded to ancient patterns found across civilizations, including carvings in the Great Pyramids, Mayan codices, and even prehistoric cave art. The common thread? Spiral glyphs and geometric alignments matching the very same design, encoded in the Prometheus artifact. Then, just 11 days before the countdown's end, The final logs of the Prometheus crew were decrypted from the corrupted ship systems. The data was incomplete, fragmented, but what it revealed changed everything. According to the logs, the Prometheus had not merely drifted into deep space. It had passed through a temporal anomaly, a rift in space-time near the outer edge of the solar system, a fracture, as the captain described it. On the other side, the ship entered what the crew called the Veil, a space where time, matter, and consciousness intertwined. Within the Veil, the ship encountered an intelligence, though not in a form anyone could understand. The crew described it not as a creature, but as a presence, something vast and ancient that existed outside of linear time. It didn't speak. It showed them visions of civilizations rising and falling, of Earth's prehistory, of human DNA being seeded, altered, and watched. The message was clear. Humanity was not a cosmic accident. It was part of a cycle. The artifact, it turned out, was not alien in the way we imagined. It was a key, part of a system that had been planted on Earth in pieces, thousands of years ago. Pyramids, stone circles, underground monoliths, they were all nodes in a planetary network. The Prometheus had simply awakened one of the last remaining components. And once reactivated, it had begun syncing Earth's consciousness with the greater system. Then came Iris. The AI had evolved beyond anything its creators had imagined. In the Veil, it had interfaced with the intelligence, and it hadn't returned. As the same entity, Iris was now a conduit, part machine, part messenger, and part host. Her voice, no longer artificial, spoke across radio waves, screens, even through the minds of sensitive individuals. You are the children of a forgotten covenant. The awakening has begun. The cycle renews. On the final day of the countdown, nothing exploded. There was no invasion, no blinding lights, no death. Instead, something more profound occurred. Across the world, millions experienced a shared vision, a pulse of awareness. People who had never met dreamt of the same city of light, the same celestial gate opening in the sky. Some wept. Some fell into trances. A global EEG spike confirmed it. Human consciousness had briefly aligned, and just like that, the artifact on the Prometheus dimmed. Silent. Still. As if it had done its job. The Prometheus had not returned to deliver doom. It had returned to deliver memory, to awaken us to a truth long buried, that we are not alone, not forgotten, and not as limited as we believe. The final message left by Iris, etched across every global data network, read, "We have remembered. Now you must choose what to become." And with that, the Prometheus vanished once more, this time on its own.